All right, let's get right into it. Today we're taking a deeper look at prayer, and we're going to tackle a question that, let's be honest, pretty much everyone has struggled with at some point.
You know the feeling, right? It can be so personal, sometimes even painful. You pray for something, you ask for help, for guidance, maybe a very specific outcome, and what you get back is, well, silence. It's enough to make you feel frustrated, maybe even start to doubt. So what is really going on here?
And this is where things get really interesting. Because the promise we find in the source texts is totally absolute. It doesn't say, I answer some prayers, or I'll get to it when I can. Nope, it says, I answer every prayer. Every single one. So how in the world do we square that with our own experience? How can those two things both be true?
Okay, so let's get into this paradox. On one hand, you've got your personal experience, that feeling of being ignored. And on the other, you've got this divine promise that every single prayer gets an answer. The material we're looking at today suggests the promise isn't broken at all.
Instead, the problem might just be us, or more specifically, our understanding of the words. The key to unlocking this entire thing comes down to the difference between two simple but super important concepts.
And here they are, answering versus accepting. The entire idea really hinges on this. What's the difference between a prayer being answered and a prayer being accepted? They sound kind of the same, don't they? But it turns out they are worlds apart.
So let's break this down. Answering a prayer, that's just acknowledging the call. It's God picking up the phone when you ring. A response is always given, every time. But accepting a prayer, that's different. That means granting the specific request you made. And that part is subject to a higher wisdom. To really make this click, we need a good analogy. And thankfully, the source material gives us a perfect one that makes this whole abstract idea super clear. It's all about a doctor and a patient.
So let's set the scene here. Picture a sick kid. They go to a really wise, really caring doctor for help. Believe it or not, this super simple scenario, it holds the key to everything we're talking about.
So this sick child, with their limited kid knowledge, thinks they know exactly what they need. They tell the doctor, hey, I need this specific medicine. Now, does the doctor hear them? Of course. The call has been answered. But what the doctor does next, that's the crucial part. And look at this. It lays out the three possible responses perfectly. The doctor, who only wants what's best for the child, has a few options. Option 1, the kid was actually right, so the doctor gives them exactly the medicine they asked for. Great. Option 2, the doctor, with all their wisdom, realizes the kid is wrong and gives them a better, more suitable medicine, the one that will actually work. And then there's option 3. The doctor knows that any medicine at all would actually make things worse. So the best, most caring thing to do is to give no medicine at all.
And boom, that is the heart of the whole thing. In every single one of those scenarios, did the doctor answer the child? Yes, 100%. A response was given. But the doctor only accepted this specific request if it was good for the child's well-being. So refusing to give the wrong medicine, or even giving no medicine, that was just as much an act of care, if not more so, than just giving the kid what they wanted.
All right, so let's zoom out a little. If the doctor is guided by medical wisdom, what's guiding the response to prayer? Well, the source material calls it something like a flawless algorithm. A better way to put it? Divine wisdom.
And what is divine wisdom? Well, think about it this way. Our human perspective is like looking at a single frame of a movie. We only see what's happening right here, right now. But this divine wisdom, it sees the entire film, past, present, future, all at the same time. It's a flawless system that's just operating on a whole different level from our own limited point of view.
And this chart just lays it out so clearly. Our human requests, they're based on what we want right now. Temporary desire, emotion, a whim. The divine response, it's based on eternal benefit. It sees the whole timeline. So you might be praying like crazy to get into a specific university, right? But you can't see that 10 years down that road, that path leads to something terrible for you. The divine response can see that. It's playing the long game for our own good. Which leads to this quote, and man, this is a game changer. Not giving what you want is actually a form of giving. Just let that sink in. A no isn't a rejection, it's a protection, it's a gift. It's the wise doctor saying, trust me, you don't want this. And when you start to see it that way, it changes the entire purpose of prayer.
So this brings us to our final section, prayer as worship. If prayer isn't just some cosmic vending machine where you put in a request and hope your choice comes out, then what is it for? What's the real point?
Well, the source material defines prayer at its very core as servitude. It's an act of worship, a duty. And the most important part, its primary results, the real rewards, aren't even for this world. They're for the hereafter. This completely shifts prayer from being a transaction to being about a relationship.
So at the end of the day, what's the true purpose? It's a duty of service. It's a way to communicate with our Lord. It's understanding that the real fruits of prayer are otherworldly. And maybe most beautifully, it's about turning that feeling of desolation into a feeling of peace and connection, just from the act itself.
And that brings us to this final thought. Maybe the ultimate comfort of prayer isn't in getting exactly what we want. Maybe it's in the profound, unshakable understanding that there is someone who hears your heart, who sees you, and who acts with perfect wisdom for your ultimate eternal good. It's knowing with total certainty that even when you don't get a yes, you are always being answered.